Hi, everybody. How are you all? I know many of us are sad today, and I think that although most of us expected the Queen to pass at some point, it still came as a shock when it actually happened. And I think it leaves us with an awkwardness, not knowing what to expect in the future, not knowing whether we should be grateful that the Queen's death came rather sudden and it wasn't a prolonged suffering with her in and out of hospital and so on, or whether we should wish for her back, which would be pointless in any event. For older people like me, those in our 50s, 60s, and 70s, for whom the Queen had been a constant for so long, I think it is particularly hard to accept, and it may take a while for our brains to transition from Queen Elizabeth to King Charles. But accept and adapt, we will all have to. We all differ in how we deal with sorrow and major events. The people on this channel are from different countries, different cultures, so I cannot keep everybody happy all the time. So I've decided to deal with the death of Her Majesty the Queen in a way with which I feel comfortable and which I find respectable and acceptable according to my culture. I will thus not talk about my usual subject, namely the Harkles. I shall not criticize anyone in the royal family or talk politics until I again feel comfortable to do so. I know there's a lot to be explained in terms of titles and the line of succession, but I feel it can wait until Her Majesty is in her grave. The business of the monarchy will carry on without us talking about it 24/7. For me, I feel the Queen deserves that we spend time talking about her, honoring her as a human being and as a woman, and obviously as the Queen. But she was more than the Queen. She was indeed a human being. I have therefore decided to tell and read short anecdotes and funny stories about the Queen as it was told in the book Little Princesses by Marion Crawford. The book was first published in 1950 and republished in 1966. Marion was governess to Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret, and in the book she shares her close relationship with the royal family and many funny stories about the two little princesses, and how better to get to know a little about the woman and the person our gracious queen was. Marion joined the household when Princess Elizabeth was only 5 and Margaret only 2. She describes her introduction to little Elizabeth and Margaret as follows. The night nursery was decorated in pink and fawn, the Duchess's favourite colour scheme. A small figure with a mop of curls sat up in bed. She wore a nightie with a design of small pink roses on it. She had tied the cords of her dressing gown to the knobs of the old-fashioned bed and was busy driving her team. This was my first glimpse at Princess Elizabeth. "This is Miss Crawford," said Ella in her stern way. The little girl said, "How do you do?" She then gave me a long, comprehensive look I had seen once before, and went on, "Why have you no hair?" I pulled off my hat to show her. "I have enough to go with," I said. "It's an Eton crop." She picked up her reins again. "Do you usually drive in bed?" I asked. "I mostly go once or twice around the park before I go to sleep, you know," she said. "It exercises my horses." She navigated a dangerous and difficult corner and went on, "Are you going to stay with us?" "For a little while, anyway," I replied. "Will you play with us tomorrow? Will you come to the little house with us?" she asked. Allah had by now unhitched the team and laid her flat. She allowed herself to be tucked away like a small doll. "Good night. See you tomorrow," she said to me. Okay, and then indeed the next day they went to the little house, and this is what was said. The first morning she showed me the little house. The little house was a present from the people of Wales. For many years it was the princess's favourite toy. It still stands in the ground of Royal Lodge, a nicely matured garden now growing up around it, waiting for its next tenant. It has its name neatly printed above the door. The little house. Welsh thatchers came from time to time to attend to the roof. It is rethatched every 3 or 4 years. Later, it became impossible to get Welsh thatchers. The art has died out there, so English thatchers came. The little house was built to scale for children, and a bit on the small side for me. I could get round by going on my knees, but there was one place on the landing where I could stand upright, all 5 feet 7 of me. The house is complete in every detail, with blue chintz curtains at windows which really open, with plumbing that works and lights that go on and off. What especially enchanted me that first day was a small oil painting of the Duchess that hang over the little mantel shelf in the drawing room. It was done to scale by Miss Sybil Charlotte Williams, a Welsh artist, and it is one of the best likenesses I have seen of the Duchess as she was then, with her sweet expression and lovely colouring and the individual, and at that time not fashionable, way she did her hair. There was a radio that worked, an oak dresser with complete outfit of china, buttercup yellow, an outfit of linen with the initial E and a crown. I opened a drawer and found an insurance policy such as must be carried by every prudent housewife. There was also a radio set license. There was in the bookshelves a complete set of Beatrix Potter's books, one in Welsh. The little kitchen of the little house had every possible utensil and cooking pot, and an outfit of stores of canned goods, all in miniature. There were brooms and pans, baking powder and flour. There was even a miniature packet of Epsom salts. I found the whole place quite enchanting, and at that time I remember being immensely impressed by the wonderful order there. I thought, without any doubt, someone came down from time to time to clean and dust and keep the place in order, but not a bit of it. The little girls looked after it themselves, and probably learned in doing so more than any domestic science school could have taught them. The children copied, as children always will, what they saw around them. Lilibet was then rising 6, but she put away the blankets and linen and wrapped up the silver in newspaper to prevent it getting tarnished, Crawfie, as she told me some time later whenever we went to London. The furniture was covered in dust sheets, just as the staff did in the main house when we went away. Children reflect what they see going on around them. This sense of order was, I found, very strong in the family of my new employers. Okay, my dears, I feel that this book gives us insight into who Her Majesty was as a person and not just as the Queen. So tomorrow I shall continue with the highlights or the funnier parts of the book concerning our most gracious Queen Elizabeth's childhood. And I will continue doing that until I feel comfortable talking about other things again. So, my dears, I wish you all strength, I wish you happiness, and until we meet again on the next video, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.